Um, Here we go. So happy Wednesday. I'm so glad to do this activity with you. If you got the memo, you have two pieces of paper. They don't have to be this big, but you have two pieces of paper and something to write with. And so we are going to dive right in, and we are going to I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. It's a pretty short time, but I do like to stay in our 30-minute mark here on these calls. But for 5 minutes, just want you to write down your goals when it comes to health or fitness. Like, what is it that you want to achieve? It can be by this December, it can be by the next 10 years. You're going to write down, take the time, I'm going to set the timer, and you're going to write down on one of the pages your goals. Good evening. We just got started. We're just taking 5 minutes on one of the sheets of paper to write down our goals. And it can be business or life goals. This would apply both ways. But since I usually run this for my private transformation group, we're focusing on health, fitness goals. But you can make it whatever and apply to it. So I have the timer set. And don't worry, you're not going to have to tell me. So if you want to write something down that maybe scares you, go for it. Let's get going. Play some. I love Lindsay Sterling. Okay, you can finish up or give me a thumbs up if you're good. Otherwise, you can just finish up what you were writing, this last thing you were writing. Thumbs up. Okay, that was quick. I'm a little suspicious. So, I mean, I wrote mine. I'm chicken scratchy. Now, take your goals, fold them in half, and rip them up. See your face. You're like, no, I just took 5 minutes writing them down. Why am I ripping them up? Rip those babies up. Rip those up. Rip them. I hope it wasn't in a notebook. Oh no, Tiffany's gonna, okay.
What are we ripping? I'm sorry I'm late.
We just took 5 minutes to write down our health and fitness goals, and I surprised them by making them rip them up. So pretend you just wrote down.
Okay then. Health and fitness goals ripped up.
Yes, that's what this is here, right here. Now, we're gonna release it like that, exactly. So, Jen, what is that about? You know, you run a health and fitness group, you're having me write down goals, and you have me rip them up. So here's the thing. On that goals that you wrote down, did anybody write down, I want to lose X amount of pounds? Did anybody write down, I want 6-pack abs? Did anybody write down, I want a nice booty? You know, did anybody write down, I want to fit a size 6? You know, here's the thing. That's great for a short-term motivation to get you to buy a program or to do something a short-term once. But when it comes down to it, most people have goals like, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose, I think statistically over 70% of people want to lose 10 pounds. Like it's a crazy high number. Don't quote me. I would have to re-Google it, but there's a high number of people that want to lose pounds, and not everybody is successful at doing it. The truth is not everyone's successful. So if having a goal to lose weight and going to the gym or, you know, buying a plan was how we got successful, everybody would be successful. And the truth is, it's not the goal itself. It's the commitment to the process, to your growth, to your purpose. And that purpose behind why you want to reach those goals is what the leverage is that you need. That's where the magic is. That's where the leverage to motivation is. That's where the secret is. Hard work doesn't make us tired. Has anybody ever been part of a project or buying a house or having a baby or getting a new puppy or going to college and graduating your master's? Has anybody done anything hard that you exhausted yourself and yet you still found joy and smiles because you were excited about this big thing you were doing? Yeah. I think we all have, right? And it's because we don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we're doing it. You know, we need that bigger purpose, that North Star to guide us, to know why we're doing the hard thing. Otherwise, at some point, it's going to get hard and it's not going to be worth it to push forward. And so that's why a goal like lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds just isn't going to work. And if I could add an extra kind of hard truth to it, our bodies don't lose weight the way we envision them losing weight. There's no such thing as particular spot training in losing pounds. Like, it goes by your genetics, it goes by so many different things. So you could lose 5 pounds and it may take, you know, a quarter of an inch from your whole body, and you really wanted only the 5 pounds to come off one spot, right? And so the idea of thinking you're going to be at your goal when you lose a number, there's no way to really look at that number and quantify it to anything. So we really want to dig deeper into that purpose. And don't worry, I got you. I'm not going to like leave you hanging here. That's why we got that second piece of paper. So I'll get to that in just a moment. But a little more, like a little explanation is Donna Oranger of the PGA Tours and NWBA. She said that having motivation without the purpose behind the motivation is like driving from New York to California on a half a tank of gas. Like it wouldn't be long before you run empty and you're just sitting there and you just give in, right? But knowing why your purpose is, remembering your purpose, like showing up for your purpose and reminding yourself of it is like that gas station every couple of miles or needs. So you get to refill that tank. You get re-excited about that thing that you're trying to do. And so that's what our second sheet is for. It's going to be for those commitments. What are you truly willing to commit to your health and work for your journey for? Like, it's not going to be about the 10 pounds, but let's pretend you lose 10 pounds. What is something that could happen when you lose 10 pounds? You may be in a smaller clothing size and you may be able to get into your old power suit you haven't been able to wear. And when you get that new clothing on, you just feel, confident. And now you walk into the room with your shoulders a little higher. You even just like, if you just do this, like if you just where you're sitting right now, put your shoulders back and your chest forward and your head up. If you just sit like that for a minute, you can feel you're more energetic and powerful. And what will happen in your life if you enter every situation, your business, your home, your relationships, your job, if you enter every situation in a place of energetic power, you're probably going to have a lot more better relationships and interactions. You're probably going to be more successful just because people are going to trust you and remember you more. Think about the energy that you're bringing because of your health and what you achieved. Maybe it's something I just learned recently, which gave me a big aha moment. I used to get allergy shots, and I gave up on them a couple companies ago when I lost the insurance that covered them. And so I would just resort to Benadryl and over-the-counter allergy medicine. I totally forgot until I read this random article on WebMD that said losing weight can actually help with your allergies. And I was like, what? I bet I haven't suffered with allergies this last 5 years because of the weight loss. Because when you're heavier, your body is stressing your adrenals and it's less in a position to fight the allergens when they come. And then you're more susceptible to having allergy issues. So think about how you feel when you get the runny nose and the tickle in your throat and you don't want to go outside and just think of those things. What if losing the weight helped with that? Would you go out and do more? Would you hike more? What if you were able to come off medication because you lost weight? That to me would be a little more motivating than number 5. Like, I want to lose 5 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds. Like, instead of focusing on that number. Does that make sense? Like, sound like this is going to be something, and that's where the motivation is. Because I don't know about you, but I could get excited about moving forward in that direction. Even so much as a West Point study showed that alumni who had their goal be, I want to serve my country and make a difference, they outperformed those who said, I want to rise through the ranks because being an officer is prestigious. Because yes, being an officer is prestigious, getting an award is prestigious, but the why behind it, the purpose behind it, how much are you going to go that extra step? How often are you going to end your night with a glass of water if it's just for an award? You're less likely to show up for it. But now if that extra glass of water means a healthier night's sleep, which means less cranky and able to handle what life throws at you tomorrow a little better, means a healthier relationships. It means chasing your grandbabies. It means being at your child's graduation. If it means something more than just a glass of water, you will have that leverage behind motivating yourself when it's hard, and that's what's going to sustain you. So don't know if you want to brainstorm a couple. I had a couple other ideas. I think it was funny because I was thinking Autumn was like in my brain this morning. I did a 10-minute ab workout this morning, and she said it's not about the 6-pack, it's about the strength you bring to every area of your life when you have that strong 6-pack. And I was like, is she coming on my call tonight? Because that's exactly what I'm talking about. So did you want to brainstorm any other ways that we can focus on a purpose behind getting healthier and eating healthier and moving more and staying committed to that journey and what we're really getting committed on? Or is that something that you'd like me to put the music back on and do privately?
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm. So I know for sure in my personal experience, you're going to have less joint pain and stress less. So how could your life be better if you were in less pain and stressed less? Oh, I think everyone got muted.
No, we just don't have anything to say.
Oh, no, it was unmuted.
Let's see, what was the question again? If we have less joint pain, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, how would your life improve if you had less joint pain?
I would be able to go up and down the stairs, and I would complain less about doing the laundry in the basement when my laundry has to end up on the second floor. I wouldn't
Well,
complain
that's a
about
pain.
getting in and out of the Jeep. Because as you know, my Jeep is a little lifted.
Me too. So do you think you would have less, are there possible that you might have less negative interactions with loved ones if you were complaining less?
Oh yeah.
Would
So
definitely be able to do more.
we'd be able
Generally
to,
in a cheerful mood.
I would be able to go on
Right.
hikes. I wouldn't be embarrassed by the fact that I'm out of shape. And so I'd be more willing to go on hikes and socializing with hiking.
okay, be more willing to socialize. Your mood would be better. So you'd get more connection overall.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Pain does terrible things to your psyche, to your mental stability and your interactions with other people. When you're in pain, especially chronic pain due to and fatigue, and especially when it comes to your joints, like I know that my hips, my knees, my ankles, like my low back, I get really, really snippy and really short. Fortunately, I've got a very patient and loving husband, but it stresses every relationship that I have when I'm in constant pain. It just does. Work relationships, professional relationships, family, friends, nobody wants to be around somebody who's always snippy, regardless of the reason.
Maybe more romantic time. I don't know if there's any littles in the area, so I'll just say more romantic time in our lives.
I have my headphones Oh,
on.
absolutely. Yeah,
If we feel more
absolutely.
comfortable. I think that's one of the biggest things that I remember vividly, getting angry and pushing my husband away at the sink because he wanted to touch my waist, versus now I'm like, hey, did you see I have like this fur happening? And now I'm like, come, and he's like, yes, I see. I'm like, I think, is my booty, when I do this move, does my booty lift? Like I would have never done that 5 years ago. I wasn't comfortable with myself. I wasn't okay with that. And now I'm completely, okay with that. And, I'll maybe not share. That might be an overshare. So I'll keep the rest of that.
It is recorded, Jen. So Jay.
I think that's great.
I almost just went too far. Okay. I will just leave it at, well, it'll help our relationships when
Increases
we are,
libido.
it
Yeah,
will,
that.
yes.
It helps with your energy level, which also helps with the libido, but it helps with your energy level too. I've only been doing this for what, like a month and a half, Jen?
Mhm.
So it's not been long,
Yeah.
but I noticed an instant, like within the first 2 weeks, an instant boost in my energy.
Mhm.
And as a result, because I can tell you, my kids have heard me say, baby, I'm just so tired so much in their lives. They've heard that so many times that the other day somebody asked me if I wanted to participate in some event. And the words that came out of my youngest daughter's mouth was, Mama, you don't have the time or the energy for that.
Wow.
Yes, that.
Mm.
I was like, and for the first time also, I disagreed with her. I probably didn't have the time, but I felt like I would have had the energy. And I didn't correct her because it was one of those moments for me, right? Where I'm just like, but that they've heard me say that. I mean, she's about to be 16. She's 15. She's my youngest.
Mhm.
And her whole life, she's heard me talk about how exhausted I am,
Mm.
to the fact that the first thing out of her mouth when someone asked me to participate in an event was, "You don't have the time or the energy for that, Mama." Like it was like an instant, I was hearing that negative self-talk come out of their mouths because I had said it so much.
So thank you for sharing.
But I have the energy now.
You flip that around, and that also gives us another reason is you're showing her now. You still have her, learning from you. You're now able to help switch that for her and show her. So
Mhm.
another reason to us is for our kids or our grandkids watching us, for littles watching us, somewhere in our lives. Um, that's that was a huge why for me. If you know a part of my story, I spent a lot of time with fat burning products and things. For 20 years, I would yo-yo diet and I'd do a lot of quick fixes. And about 5.5 years ago, Joseph asked for his fat burning coffee. And when he asked for his fat burning coffee, I threw it all away. Never again. Never again am I putting something in my body my son can't have. Because I was teaching him, you don't have to change how you eat. You just have to drink this thing and it'll fix it. And that's maybe one extreme of things, but that was something where I was like, okay, I'm done, and I just threw everything away, and that's when I started my doctor journey, and then eventually 3 months later was here and started my journey here. Less colds and sick. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
I
That's been huge for me. Like I have not been, when I was almost 300 pounds, I was always sick. Everything. Like I didn't even want to go. I'm sorry, and I just cut you off, but that was huge for me. Then my husband was even like, every time you go out, every time you're around somebody that coughs, anything, it was like if it would automatically like cling to me and it would take me down for like a week or two. Like it was horrible. Like the things, I mean, I would go from the flu, the bronchitis, to the cold, to this, and I was never like that before. That's not how I grew up. I mean, and my mom was always sending us outside and we were always playing outside. So I went from being pretty healthy to eating nothing but junk food, getting pregnant, and then wham, like I was just there. And my body just could not take it. And just it did. Every time I would go around anybody, I would catch whatever they had, and it was just worse. And now I've noticed it's not like that. I've got a strong immune system and I'm able to withstand. I mean, my body, it has the energy, like you guys are saying, it has the energy to fight what it needs to, that it's not already trying to catch up from all this other junk and stuff that I'm putting in my body. And that, well, now that I'm back in exercising and stuff like that, but it makes a big difference how we care for ourselves.
100%. You think, like, I think of that wall with the water coming through and the guy's trying to put a finger in all the holes and then eventually his toes, and then he has nowhere to fill the gaps. And that's what we're asking our organs and our body to do when we're eating unhealthy, process this food that's not real. And and we end up stressing and sick. And like, I have a drawer this big of just medical bills from my 20s and early 30s. And I have not had one antibiotic in the last 5 years. I used to go every 3 months. I mean, right now, probably Patient First and Airport Road Emergency Center are missing me, just like Dunkin' Donuts. Those three places miss me: Dunkin' Donuts, Airport Road Emergency Center, and for Patient First, because I was there weekly. I mean, almost every week. And then something other now, so that's going to save you money if you don't need medicine, if you don't get sick as much, if you don't have to pull out of stuff because you're sick, if you don't, need to buy food. But I'm going to say, when you lose weight, you're going to save money on something else too. If you're like me, if you're like I was, when I was unhappy with how I felt about myself, with my weight and being uncomfortable, I soothed that by buying things that made me happy for a moment. So I did max out a few credit cards in my 20s and 30s on things that I don't even know where they are. They just, in that moment, I had like 15 Coach bags. It's not something I'm like exactly proud of, but
No, thank you.
it's the truth. It's what happened. I was trying to make myself feel better, and having a new purse made me feel better. And it didn't address eating differently. It didn't address emotional binging or anything else that I was going through, but it made me feel better in that moment. Now, now that I'm healthier, I can't tell you the last time I bought a purse. Now I can buy something with joy instead of just trying to feel better. You know, I get to buy things to support other people and to buy something that I need for my family or invest in something. I don't just shop to feel better. And that was also a lot of hiding in Netflix for me. I was missing a lot of engagement with my family and my son because I didn't have the energy, and I would hide in Netflix. So I missed out on a lot of things. So you're going to save money and time in places where you're soothing, whatever your feel better place is. And I know that that may be hard to hear, but I hope if you're watching this or you're here that you know that I mean it in love, that I want you to feel better. And that is something for me that was a step forward. I wasn't having to fill those gaps anymore. Better sleep, you know, I think we maybe covered that one already. Maybe.
I remember my sleep was horrible. I mean, and I used to spend so much on extra pillows, foam stuff that goes on in between the mattress. And then I tried everything. My back was always hurting. My hips were always hurting. Like my knees, everything. I tried everything. And then it was even more miserable because I was big and my husband was big. So we just figured, well, you go from a queen size bed to a king size bed to the California king size bed because you just need more space. And you know what? Just, you're too hot. I need more space.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think then that the problem could be me. That, you know what, if I could just control how I eat and exercise and make better choices. And as I lost weight, I was able to sleep well again. Like laying there didn't just hurt, like moving hurt, laying there hurt, sitting hurt. Every position just hurt. So you're just hurting all the time, and it was just, I mean, your sleep just gets tremendously. Now it's just my little kids crawling in bed that keeps me up. So
yeah, I don't know how to help that yet because I had that myself. But so my hope is that some of these ideas that you can catch on to something, that you can take the time, whether it's when we get off the call tonight, put on some music, put in some earbuds, go sit somewhere silently and just spend a few minutes and truly get that leverage for yourself. Tell yourself, like, what is going to be better when I'm a size 10? When I walk into the kitchen and I'm a size 10 or I'm down 40 pounds, what is going to be better in my life? And focus on that so that when the alarm goes off and it's time to work out, instead of hitting snooze, you say, no, this is one of those commitments that's going to help me get to play with my grandkids, help me get to go on that hike, help me get to sleep better tomorrow. When it's comes around to Saturday and Sunday and you're debating whether or not you should meal prep for the week, instead of saying no, say, you know what, I can bring Netflix into the kitchen. I'll put on Netflix on my laptop and I'll meal prep for 2 hours and I'll get it done so that when I'm busy during the week, I can make healthy choices. And, it's because when I make those healthy choices, I'm going to be able to handle what comes at me easier. I'm going to have a healthier relationship with my friends. And if you're in business, you're going to succeed in business more. If you have the energy to engage and get your name out there, you're going to get your name out there in a bigger way. And I think we all represent like some sort of doing that in our lives, even if we don't have a business. Like for your employment, you still represent yourself in a certain way where you may not have the qualifications for a job, but they know they can depend on you. They like your energy. They're willing to train you and invest in you because they see that positive that you got from taking care of yourself. And so it's just going to, I hope you find like me, like the more you invest in yourself, the more you invest in your health, the more you can think about that and focus on that instead of the goal of 10 pounds. Focusing on these things are going to help you with that leverage to get up and keep going, as opposed to just a number. So is there any question or anything before I pop off, or I guess I should end? I'm going to end unless there was a really good takeaway that someone wanted to share before I end the recording for our friends who aren't here.
I just think we're all looking for, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say
No.
this one last thing and then I'm gonna shut up. I just think that it's all about investing in our futures, period. Investing in ourselves for our futures. We all want to be in a different place 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. We want to see ourselves doing bigger or better things. We want to see ourselves in less pain and more excited about whatever chapter we're in. I think that's probably the bottom line for me, at least, for sure.
So the triumph is in showing up here to work on creating that future you want. And
Right.
The triumph is not 10 years from now when you're there. The triumph is already that you're here, adding some tools to your tool belt, looking at what you want, you know, and getting that forward. Thank you so much. I'm going to take us offline in case anybody wanted to go over anything privately, and we'll see you later. Here we go.
I'm in the meeting.